this is a political meeting tonight, our branch meeting. And you will find that within the last week to 10 days, there's been a frenzy of activity from those who oppose us on the other side. I've said that 2 years in, almost, it'll be 2 years in September, these folks seem to have gotten their sea legs back, as if they smell blood in the water, and have this onslaught of information, misinformation, untruths, half-truths, and all kinds of stories about what is or is not going on with the government of the Bahamas. And if you allow your mind to be influenced by it, we would forget what happened less than 2 years ago, where not only were we locked up in our houses in an endless cycle of a man who just rolled out of bed in the morning and said, 6 o'clock, you gotta go home. And if you're 1 minute after the curfew, he told the police to lock us up. And you get fined $750 for selling coconuts, or $250 to go into the pump to get water. That was only 2 years ago. And since that time, the economy of the country has been opened up. And I try to say to people, things may not be where you want them to be, but things are better than they were 2 years ago.
Oh, yes.
We're trying to figure out where these people are getting all this energy to fly around the country in their red tennis shoes, promoting this message of that there's a problem in the country. And they seem to want to fasten on to particular people and particular ministers. And the game is that if you could get one, just get one, then the dominoes start to fall. And so, you know, I have this job as chairman of the party, and I just see my job in part as the job of keeping the alliance together that fought and won the election 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we put together a combination of alliances and people, and we were able, against insuperable odds, to win the country again. The country has been going back and forth every 5 years. And now it's time to stop that.
Yes.
The country needs 10 years of stable leadership in order for us to accomplish our goals. And I know it seems like it's just taking so long to get various things done. But when I think of how long it took, for example, to put in place the national honors, which are now in place, it took us 27 years to fight for that to be where it is. Took 27 years to get the Foxhole Community Center built after George Mackey announced it in the 1980s. So it just takes a long time to get things done. And even though we are a well-off country, the Ministry of Finance has to superintend the resources. And what we've been trying to do over the last 2 years is to make sure that the country is paid out of cash flow and stop trying to borrow money in order to pay.
All right.
So it's just taking time. And there's a balancing act which is going on every day. So last week, they decided that they would be attacking the Minister for Immigration. And they came up with what they said was a list of questions, all of which have been answered. And what they're trying to do is to portray in the country the idea that somehow the Bahamas government under the Progressive Liberal Party is weak on immigration. That is a falsehood. Immigration is doing its job. We have repatriated almost 5,000 people within the last year. And I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, these people who are being caught are not coming to be in the Bahamas. They're headed to the United States. And we just happen to be in between a rich country on the north of us and a poor country on the south of us, and they're trying to get there. The Washington Post did an article last week in which they said this was a smuggler's paradise. And if you read the article, you would get the impression that the Bahamas government is somehow complicit with people being smuggled to the United States. But you know, you have to examine the fact that this is, in some senses, structural. I've given you the geography. America on the north, Haiti on the south. We're a tourist country. You have to balance ease of entry into the country for tourists against strictness of immigration to stop those who come in illegally. And it's not an easy balance to strike. It's a difficult balance. And so people can use tourism to facilitate smuggling into the United States. But what I always find curious about the US press is they never seem to address the fact that this is driven from the United States.
That's right.
It's not the Bahamas. The drugs were driven from the United States. The rum running was driven from the United States. The guns before that from the United States. And now the smuggling of people from the United States.
The mine and supply.
You know, when I was Minister for Immigration, there were two men who were detained at the Carmichael Road Detention Center. They'd been there for some while, and they tried to burn the detention center down. So they were moved as a security risk to the prison, and they were there for a while, perhaps too long. So that lawyer, whose name I'm not going to call, from down behind,
Your name, sir.
goes up to the courts and gets the courts to set them free. Just parole them out, say they've been in prison too long. Now, one of the things we said is this, we told the public this: we would have set them free, except that the Cubans said they were not welcome back in Cuba. And then the Americans said because they were involved in criminal activity before in Cuba and in the United States, they were not welcome back in the United States. That was the official position of the United States. Now, the director of immigration at the time said to me, look, Mr. Mitchell, just let those people out, and I assure you, in 1 week they could be in Miami. I didn't listen to them. I said, no. The U.S. said they will not come there. I called the charge, she said they will not be allowed back in the United States. Anyway, the court said let them out. So they let out this day. 2 days later, the director calls me and says, oh, the two fellas have been seen walking the streets of Bimini. What are they doing in Bimini? You know what I'm doing in Bimini? Yeah. Within a week, they were holding a press conference in Miami. The same people the U.S. said we're not welcome in the U.S. We're not welcome in the U.S. Right. So you have to be fair about what is actually happening. And Minnis and Pintard should not be pretending that every day a minister of immigration has to make decisions about whether or not you parole people out who may not have all their documents. And it happens in many cases that immigration goes to a site and they find that, well, people don't have the exact documentation. It could be the documentation's in, it's not been, it's all of those things. Well, the company, in this case, that they're making noise about, said that it is not true that the people came into the country unlawfully. The company also said that they would never countenance undocumented persons on their site. And the minister said that he agreed in the circumstances to allow them to regularize the position. And that happens all the time. So people should not pretend that this is something new that is happening. But the idea is to sully the name, make it seem like something crooked is going on. And they all know that when they were in government, the same thing happened. So there's nothing new. Or more. I mean, you only have to see when they raise the tax on the people in their land in Life and Key. The fellows wrote a letter, and the next morning it's reversed. So you can't, you know. But what gets me is that here's a fellow. What did he do? He sat, as Prime Minister, he sat in front of the public and said he was signing a document to have a $5 billion investment in Grand Bahama called Oban. It's a good thing the Nassau Guardian's cameras were there, because they saw that the fellow who was signing the contract really wasn't signing the contract. The contract had been signed before. So the whole thing was just a big fake and a phony. And he, as Prime Minister, sat there and did that.
What are you talking about?
He did that. And he now wants us to believe him. What did they do? Bamsey. They turned that into a burned out building. $100 million of investment by the Progressive Liberal Party, and they turned that into a burned out building. Bahama, what did they say? It was a fake deal. When they came, they couldn't stop embracing it. National health insurance. Dwayne Sand's campaign against national health insurance. To this day, we still don't have proper national health insurance because they keep opposing it, right? But then, when he gets in government, says, oh yeah, national insurance is a good idea. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because you have to be careful how you embrace stories spun by these people. But the one thing they're good at is turning the truth into a lie. They're very good at that. Very good at that. And they prey on the innocent and the gullible. So there's a need for us to just remember the history of this and to defend the situation. And then we have this issue where every day these people are putting out these foul, lying messages on Facebook and in their WhatsApp chats. What disturbs me is that too many of our own people are passing this stuff around and believing what people say. You know, I really had to laugh at some of the foolishness they say. I don't even want to, spread this nonsense, but, this business about who is serving overseas and what we agreed to do and what we didn't agree to do. Let me just say this, right? Matters in international affairs are decided by the cabinet. That's number one. Number two, the Minister of Foreign Affairs is not responsible in the Constitution for the appointment of anyone overseas. I have no power to do so. Article 1112 of the Constitution says anyone who is serving overseas is an appointment of the Prime Minister, not the Minister of Foreign Affairs, right? And this fascination that they have with people's private lives, I just don't understand it. These people must not have anything to do at night. It's just astounding that they have nothing else to do but just make up stories about what's going on to try and tear people's lives apart. The people who serve overseas in the foreign ministry are well qualified to do so, and they serve with loyalty and faithfulness to this country. And I'll defend them anywhere because they give good service to this country. And it's not as easy as you think it is. It may look like everybody's going to cocktail parties and all the rest of it, but you may think cocktail parties is a lot of fun, but you try making small talk for 2 hours, and you'll see how it is. I was telling some friends that I was tasked once to go and see the late Paul Adley, who had been asked to act as Governor General for 3 months. I had been asked by Prime Minister Christie to persuade him to take the job. And then he outlined what the tasks of a Governor General are from day to day. And that's hard work. That's hard work. Arthur folks told me that every Christmas, you had to go and tour the hospital. And he says, they forget, I'm an old man. So he got me walking up and down all day through the wards and so on and so forth. This is hard work to do it. And to be able to smile and be pleasant to people for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. Yeah. I mean, people laugh at me. I can't even stay in church for an hour.
I need to hear a story about it.
So, now, I think, though, what is driving all of this is there's an internal problem in the Free National. That's what's driving this.
Deflection.
So, because they're having a problem, they want to think that the PLP has a problem.
Deflection.
Right. So, I understand that the leader of the opposition isn't as secure as he might be in his own constituency in Freeport. That he may be trying to go to another constituency to get someone else's constituency. And that Minnis has control of his own branch in Grand Bahama. That's the story that's being told. So you would have seen a rally last Friday. I was wondering what they have a rally for. And this is, I suspect, it's a rally being held to demonstrate to Minnis that he, Pintard, is a more popular fellow than he is.
He had no ground.
And that's because the story is that Minnis believes that at any minute he can pull the tape and Pintard is gone. Because I gather there's only one member of parliament who he hasn't got. So if he wanted to pull the trigger tomorrow, he could go to the Governor General and new leader of the opposition and the former Prime Minister would be leader of the opposition. I don't know nothing about their business, but all I'm saying is that's what I hear. And since they talk in our business, I can talk theirs. And all I'm saying is they need to mind their own business, get their own business straight, and stop trying to form or cause problems for the Progressive Liberal Party. So tonight then, I want to just spend some time saying that we must hold the fort and we must stand our ground. We must defend the party, defend its policies, and defend our way of doing things. Now, it isn't always going to go as smoothly as you'd like, and I know one of the most anxious parts I have is because I meet across the country with people from north to south, is this issue of small contractors and us being able to fund work for small contractors. Believe me, this is an issue which we're highly sensitive to and trying to work on trying to see if we could resolve this. There's a lot of public infrastructural work that has to be done, but as you know, money is required to do this. And as I said, we're trying to be careful how the public purse is spent, but from the point of view of the Member of Parliament for Fox Hill and all of the other members of Parliament, not ministers, but in their positions as members of Parliament, we are all sensitive to the fact that there needs to be money put on the ground. And that has to be. So I hope that this is something tonight that we can internalize, and we can, as we contemplate the 50th anniversary of our independence, and as we plot our way forward, that we're not looking at 5 years, but we're looking at 10 years.
Yeah.
In order to get to 10 years, we have to get to 5 years.
Yeah.
In order to get to 5 years, we've got to get past year 2. And, you know, Lyndon Pinling used to say there's no time for summer soldiers and sunshine patriots and hiding in the grass. This is the time when they're going to be throwing everything and the kitchen sink. You know, if it rains, they say it's the PLP's fault.
It's gonna do harm.
Yeah, exactly. The sun too hot, the PLP too. So you could expect that coming forward because we're now going into the midterm. But I think we are an example of good governance. I think that our members of parliament are sensitive and sensitized to that fact. And if they're not, I want to make an appeal tonight to all of them to do a midterm check,
Yes.
to go down the list of those who worked for you, go down the list of those who donated, go down the list of projects that you said that you would do, go down the checklist of people who you said you would help, and let's see if those who have not been helped, those projects that have not been done, let's see if we can get that list ticked off, because that's what's really important. And answer your phone.
Performance review.
So that's the important thing tonight, the important lesson tonight for all of us. You are tonight an extraordinary group of people because on this hot summer evening in August, you're sitting at a political meeting when elections are 2.5 years away. So you're an extraordinary people to be able to do that. I mean, most people are home watching the World Cup in Australia to see who's going to win that. But you're out here at a political meeting. And I want to say how grateful we all are for the support which people continue to give us. I mean, every day when I walk around the country, people haven't started cursing me yet. People are still hailing me. Yeah. But I know time is longer than rope, and so it's coming. I just wait. But, you know, I don't curse. So.
Don't call your friend next to that.
Yeah. At least I try not to. But that's where we are. So I'm just really trying to suggest to people tonight
You're doing well.
that the serious business is to hold the fort,
Yes.
defend your man,
Yes.
defend the constituency, and let's work assiduously toward a second term. Let's work assiduously this year to get to year 2, which will be, the 21st of September?
Yeah.
We'll make 2 years. We've got a lot of work in this constituency to do. I was telling people we've now just increased the constituency allowance to, it's now 150,000 a year, so it's 37,825 a quarter. But one well costs $15,000 to dig. And just coming here because of the flooding, you have that well in Fox Hill Road, opposite where DeBing is.
Yeah.
You've got 2 in Monastery Park, so that means 2 wells, and that allowance is gone. It's done. And there are a lot more than that. I'm just saying those. So there's a lot of public works that have to be done. What I want to do is for us to get to members of parliament having $1 million in their account per year. So we're trying to see if we can do that, to up it annually. And this is not new money. What happens is right now, public works are actually done through the Ministry of Works. And I'm suggesting that a more efficient way to deal with this is to let members of parliament be able to just give the instruction themselves, and it comes out of their budget. So I'm suggesting that what is now residing in the Ministry of Works should actually be transferred bit by bit to the Member of Parliament. So the Member of Parliament has superintendence over what's going on.
That's more impact.
So I think, but as I say, you know, these things take time to get there. So we're still at it. So thank you for coming. Next week, I'm going to be in Bimini for the 54th annual Bimini Road Race, which is a 3-mile race. I actually run the 3 miles. And, yeah, I do. And I win my category every year because I'm the only one. Which is the over 65 category.
I can send Leslie that.
Yeah, you have to send Leslie. You have to send Leslie to come to the race. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the people of Bimini appreciate the investment. So, if there are any questions for me, I'd be happy to take them. But I just wanted to share this information with you tonight, and to say that whatever challenges may come, the Progressive Liberal Party is still the best choice for the party. So I say, PLP? All the way! PLP? All the way! PLP?
The only way.
Amen. Thank you.